Okay, moving right along, we have Jeff Burton that has joined us. He drives the number 31 Caterpillar Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, currently 8th in points. And Jeff, coming to Talladega, you had a good run last week at Martinsville, and I'm sure you're hoping to keep moving up in the standings here this weekend at Talladega.
Yeah, we definitely are. We obviously had a really strong week last week. Didn't finish like we wanted to. It's been kind of the tail of our year this year. We just been really fast and not found a way to win races, and that's certainly been disappointing. But I feel like we're getting smarter and getting stronger. It's it's been painful, but we're moving in the right direction. So we'll look forward to coming here this weekend. This is always an exciting race, obviously, and hope we can run in the front and have a chance to run as well as we did in the spring. We were really fast here in the spring and thought we had a great chance to win the race until we got a piece of debris we were leading the race and got a piece of debris on the grill and had to pit real late in the race, and that was that did us in. But we had a fast car, and hopefully we can have that same speed this time. Questions
for Jeff Burton, if you have one. We'll bring you the microphone. We'll start over here with Mike Mulhern. Go ahead.
Mike Mulhern, MikeMulhern.net. Have you guys, you and Kevin, figured out what the deal was last weekend? Was he just over the top, or is he still sort of going to be over the top here? This is a heck of a place to be over the top like that.
Well, I think that we're both very competitive people, as everybody on the racetrack is competitive people, and I think that the best way I can describe it is that RCR is it's like a family. Sometimes families argue amongst themselves and carry on probably more with your family than you do people that you don't even know. And that's probably what happened with us last week. We sat down and had a great meeting and talked about it. And we'll be better teammates for it. Both of us could have handled that situation better. Both of us had something to learn from it, and it's completely over. And again, I think we'll be stronger for it. It's hard, man. Being teammates is hard. It's you always expect more out of your teammate. You're trying to be a good teammate, but you're also trying to beat your teammate. And it's a very, very difficult. I'm surprised we don't have more incidents, to be quite honest. But Kevin and I are good. We had a great meeting on Tuesday, and again, I think in the long run will actually help us.
Go ahead, Ed.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Jeff, as strong as you were here in the spring, and Kevin won the race, is your assignment Sunday, since he's the RCR guy with the real shot in the chase, is your assignment more to go out there and help him if you can, hook up with him if you can?
We've had zero discussion about that. We actually have had discussion, and it's very clear to all of us at RCR, if you're in the position to help your teammate, you go help him. But you don't do that if it's going to hurt you. And that's it's kind of the way it has to be. I think you hear a lot of people, like I talked about earlier about teammates. When you have a situation with a teammate, the last place you want to go is Talladega the week after, because the teammates always get their feelings hurt here. And but the reality of it is, and I think that we handle it really well, is that if a teammate can help me, I want them to help me. But I don't want them to help me if it's going to hurt them. It's not fair to them. And by the way, I don't want to help them if it's going to hurt me either. So we don't have any team orders that says, "Hey, go push Kevin, go make it so he can do it." If I can help Kevin, I certainly will. I won't do that at the jeopardy of hurting me and my team, and nor Kevin wouldn't want me to. Kevin or Richard wouldn't want us to do that. So, this is still racing. We are RCR, but at the same time, we have to go and do the very best we can for each individual team. If we don't do that, then I think we really mess with the credibility of the sport.
Let's go Mike Embry, Jim Utter, Nate Ryan.
Mike Embry, Speed.com. Jeff, the situation with RPM is sort of the latest in a series of non-racing people getting into the sport and not being able to stay afloat for whatever reason. Do you see any kind of common denominator in these situations?
Well, I hate to lump everybody up in one pile, and saying every guy that's not a racer that comes in is not successful because I don't think that's fair. I think that this is different than other businesses. You know, it's we've seen a lot of people come and try to bring a lot of money, and obviously you have to have money to be successful. But where you spend that money is what really matters, and the efficiencies that you learn how to garner are really, really important. And it takes years of experience, I think, to do that. And I don't think that they came in here and just threw money at everything. I think that they came in, they paid a premium for a race team. It appears to me they paid a tremendous amount of money, probably a little overvalued. And then, you know, so they're in at a high purchase price, and now with the economy the way it is, it's hard to make all that work. So, you know, it's kind of hard to fault them when you're looking at a sport when they bought in, at how successful the sport was. Sponsors were, I don't want to say readily available, but obviously more available than they are now. The money being spent was greater then. And without having the years of experience to understand the ebb and flow, I think it's a little difficult to know what you're getting into. I think they're a lot smarter now, and the question is, will they be strong enough to live through the learning phase? And every car owner's gone through it. Every car owner has had moments where they really were on the brink. And today it happens quicker because the investment's so much taller. So I don't want to generalize them in saying, well, they're not a Richard Childress or a Rick Hendrick or a Jack Roush, and that means they don't know what they're doing. But without a doubt, the experience that those guys have garnered has meant a great deal to them and how they run their companies.
Let's go Jim Utter, Nate Ryan, Bruce Martin.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. Jeff, if you were to try to put a percentage on it or something, how much do you think what transpires in a race like this on Sunday is totally in your control, and how much is in somebody else's control? And as a driver, how difficult is it to grasp the fact that you can do possibly every single thing right and still come up on the losing end?
Well, this is 2 of 38 races is the way I approach it. We run 38 races, right? And you run here different than you run everywhere else. So you have to accept Talladega for what it is. At the same time, you have to take responsibility for your actions. And, it's very, very difficult when things happen and there was nothing you could do. But I don't think it's right to go into the race with the preconceived notion that something's going to happen to you with nothing that you could do about it, because that takes you off the hook, and ultimately puts you on the hook, if you know what I mean. But I think that it's real important to every incident that you're involved in at Talladega to go back and look at it really closely and make sure you couldn't do something different. This is here in Bristol, are the only racetracks we go to where a wreck happens and drivers get out and they say, well, that's just Bristol. Well, that's just plate racing. We tend to blame it on the racing rather than on ourselves. So, it is without a doubt the biggest opportunity to have something happen to you that you didn't do anything wrong. There's no question that's here. But you can't think like that. You got to believe that you're going to be able to be in control, and you got to believe you're going to have an impact on your result and what happens. And that's to me, that's the only way you can approach it. But this is the highest risk for being involved in something that you had absolutely nothing to do with.
Nate Ryan, Bruce Martin, Dustin Long.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Jeff, the two-car breakaway thing that's kind of become a phenomenon here the last 18 months, it played a big impact, I think, in the last 2 spring races here in terms of the finish, and Clint was in here a minute ago and said that you guys have kind of discussed it. Can you give us your take on that? Like,
he did?
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to say that.
Maybe not. How do you think that's going to impact Sunday? And can teammates work together, or does it just depend on whose car works with whose? I mean, do you have any sense of what determines it?
I think teammates can work with each other and make that happen, but it has to be the right situation. It's hard to fabricate that. some of it's timing. Some of it is you catch a guy at the right time. You know, if you're third in line and your teammate's behind you, he can push you all you want. You're not going any faster than the guy that's in front of you. So you've got to be in a position where you can have a breakaway. And that's very difficult to fabricate. I mean, that's something that, you know, kind of happens on its own. If you're leading the race, I think you could fabricate that pretty well. If you're the first two cars in a line, you tend to could make that thing happen. But if you're not in the front of a pack, it's really hard to put all the stuff together to be able to take advantage of it. So if you're relying on that, I think you're probably relying on something that you don't know you can do. And we've seen that thing really work on two different occasions. One of them was on a restart where Keselowski was pushing Carl. Well, on the restarts, you know, the thing gets single file and kind of gets spread out for just a half or three-quarters of a lap. That let that happen. And then with Kevin and Jamie, they were leading the race. So those are the kind of situations you have to be in to take advantage of that. And I think you can. If you're in those situations, you can certainly take advantage of that. But everybody's fighting to be in that position. And there's only going to be 3 or 4 that are actually in the position that can take advantage of it.